Good morning, guys. This is Richard back at you. Today we got David's SSR 06 Chevrolet in the house. You know, that's one of them cool looking little vehicles. It's a little pickup looking car. Really neat looking SSR 06 6.0, red in color. Come in. Actually, you can't tell it now, but when it come in, he brought it in for a service, and from here that has a rubber hose coming out the back and it's blowing fluid out the vent. So once it starts blowing fluid out the vent, we know we got an issue starting to go on. This thing has 71,723 miles. Not a whole lot of mileage.
And when we did the service, it had a lot of black.
Oh, that's right, it did, didn't it?
In the pan.
Yeah, because I remember Trent taking a picture of that and showing it to him.
Yes.
So, but anyway, what I like about it, it's never been touched. Literally never been touched. Had a rough time getting a few of the bolts out. I did get my old chisel out here and had to kind of chisel a couple of them out. But we did get it out. Pretty simple. Kinda. We'll get this bell housing off here. I left one in there. Get that out of the way. Of course, it has just a standard TMBX converter. Lowest stall converter they pretty much make for these units. Keeps the heat down, stuff like that. A lot easier on the lockup clutch. Now, this thing does not have a cooler on it at all. None. Just straight right into the radiator. So we got Cody out there getting the front of it off and stuff so we can mount a really nice cooler up on the front too, so we can kind of knock the temperature down on this thing a little bit. Get this stuff out there. Some of the levers are on there pretty dang tough. Mercy. Woo. Watch out, Teresa. Don't want to hit you with flying tools. There we go. A little nub goes in for the cable. Two 13s. Now I like to get a file before I take this off. There's always going to be some, when you mount this on here, it smashes it right here and pops it up a little bit where this won't just slide off. You can take a file and kind of knock that down a little bit on both sides. You can hear it getting it. There we go.
Little boogers off of there.
Yeah. And then you can take a bigger screwdriver and kind of get behind it and push it off without damaging it. There you go. But if we didn't file that down right there, it'd bind up right there and you'd end up breaking this through here, messing it up and having to buy another one. There was no codes in this vehicle at all. Of course, we have a two-wheel drive. Our O-ring's always going to have an orange stripe on it. Original bushing. Now some of these output speed sensors are brass and some are plastic. See here.
So is this a 60 or a 65?
No, it's probably just a 60. It's an early style. No reluctor wheel or anything like that. You can see how on the metal ones, remember I showed you how it pooched out and that'd start rubbing on the wheel and stuff. It's actually magnets, see?
Yeah.
Pretty neat, huh?
Yep.
I guess that magnetic force is what pulls that brass one out, possibly.
Yep. Well, the customer just thought he had a 4065.
Doesn't have no reluctor wheel at all.
There you go.
I'll get in here and show him. Got my tools scattered. Hayden and Peyton's been tearing down cores this week, so they've been here working out of school, trying to earn a little bit of cash.
Because they're juniors.
Yeah. They've been doing really good in junior dragster racing. Now if you notice here, being that this is a performance vehicle, 6.0 motor and stuff, it's got a servo that what I call it's in between all the other servos. It's got an oddball. Let me show you. Now this here is a Corvette servo here. Got the small diameter there. We have your car, pickup, stuff like that here. And then we have like your Trailblazers, your SSR little pickup, stuff like that. Look here. In between. See? So I do like this one here. These work really nice when your Corvette servo is a little bit too firm. But the problem is finding these in between one right here, you can't ever find them. They're physically going to be in a core or something like that. I've never been able to find where I could buy that special one there, I guess you could say. So, but we're going to put a Corvette servo on this because this truck runs really, really good. Got to help it out a little bit there. We have our lockup O-ring here. We have our seal retainer. Kind of retains it. So we glue our seal in and we glue the retainer on. That way we know that seal can't come out. It's going to take a lot to push it out anyway. .9% of our units get built back the same day. No more than we tear this unit down, the case will be clean, put in the washer, and within 5 or 6 hours, this unit will be ready to go back in the truck. So.
What? You mean you rebuilt these?
No, we actually get them out of the trailer.
We don't farm this stuff out, Richard?
No, I guess not. Some people think we do.
Some people think we do.
And we did 530 or 40 units in 2 years. So if you think about it, we've got 524 videos out there. So that tells you that we've done 500 and something video or units within that period of time. So.
Right. But.
Hang on. Now we do have some other videos out there or some transfer cases, just different things. But you know, even us talking about our trophies, our 100,000 year subscriber award, stuff like that. But
you look at our invoice numbers.
Oh yeah.
The invoice number 17,529.
Yeah. Wow. Well, let me tell you guys, if that's 17,529, I'm gonna say 15,000 of them are trannies that I've built. Other thousands are rear end jobs, transfer case jobs, and stuff like that. So, but I build 99.9% of the units that go across our table. This table. Trent does build when I get tired, because some of these things get ugly after a while. It's doing the same thing over and over and over. See, we have our PW solenoid here. Always change your O-rings. Have your 3-2 downshift solenoid here. Your main lockup solenoid there. Now we have a late model pressure control solenoid. The connector plugs onto the side of it instead of the end. There was no fluid in the connector on this, but I do have a brand new wiring harness over here that we're going to replace it with. He does a lot of traveling, stuff like that. You don't want no issues nowhere. We don't like comebacks at all. We got all of our 10mm bolts right here. Oops, excuse me. We have our short 10s. We have our 3 long 8s in the L shape. We have our 2 short 8s. And we have our 3 long 10s that hold the pillow switch on. That's not too bad. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, or 5 different lengths bolts just holding the valve body on. So I loaned, I did, yep.
Hey, no, you're cool.
Yeah, she's tearing down cores. They enjoy doing that. When they get out of school, they love coming down here and working.
She actually did it pretty quick.
Yeah, she learned a lot. I was really shocked on how many units she got tore down yesterday. And now I got to hunt down units for her to tear down. I mean, I got tons out there. I just got to dig them out. I'm going to blow this out of here. Watch that, Teresa. There we go. And we have our PW valve right here. And what we do is we just put a check ball in the end here, a check ball in the end here, put this all back together, put your clip back in, your plug here on the end. It's hard to get this back in, but you can take and push it with really hard with a screwdriver. Always look at the plug though and see how it's got wear here, no wear on this end. Always put the no wear towards the inside. That way I know it seals better at the end plug. So pretty simple. Pressure control solenoid. Of course, you got your plastic forward accumulator piston here. See how we got all the goodies behind us here, all the aluminum pistons and stuff to make this tranny a really nice unit. Also, I like to pull this solenoid off, get it out of the way because it's really easy to break the end of it if you're going to be using it. Now there is a valve and spring right here on your 3 2-downshift valve and spring. Always change your O-rings. But I like to get this out of the way because it's so easy to break the end of it off right here when you're setting it down, messing with it, stuff like that. You got your shift solenoids. You can just tell when they wobble like this, it just tells you that the seals really wore out. So if the seals wore out, in other words, it can leak past here and not apply the valve. So pretty simple. Always change all your O-rings. And these here, when they're cleaned up, they'll click. So you can't hear it now, but normally once I clean them and solve them and stuff, there's a valve that slides back and forth and you'll hear it click. This spring right here, a valve and spring assembly, this is part of your 1-2 accumulator. Right here, it's kind of a 2-stage. You get your shift kit in here. It's gonna, when you change this spring right here, it's gonna ask you what servo you're using. So you gotta really pay attention to that because that valve there actually is what releases fluid into here. So all of our check balls were in there. If you notice on this plate here though, since it's a performance vehicle, GM physically has already went in there and enlarged your feed circuit in the plate. Okay, if you come here and look at this hole here, your 4th gear right here, look how big that hole is. Normally that hole is half that size. Same way here with your intermediate, same way here with your 3rd right here. So normally these holes are a lot smaller from the factory, but since it's a factory performance unit, GM, this plate, the holes are bigger. And if you can tell, nobody has drilled these out at all. They're factory. Normally you can tell if a drill bit's enlarged them and stuff like that. So, of course, GM always did do that. They left the spring out of the intermediate accumulator and just left that little one in there. So we'll change this up a bunch too. We'll definitely change the piston, get one with a longer shank, give it a lot more stability. Looking here to make sure that the piston hasn't been rubbing up and down and scarred it. It's really nice looking accumulator there. Manual valve linkage. Of course, we have a round hole, square hole, valve body, round hole, square hole. It says case on the other side. Of course, if you look here, GM didn't even put a spring in here in their 4th gear accumulator. None at all. So we're definitely going to block it. This gentleman that owns this, he's probably in his 70s, huh, Teresa? Yeah. But he likes fast vehicles. He don't like them to just hit hard or anything like that, but he definitely wants it to work nice. Give him a little bit of a firm shift, but not something that'll just jar his teeth. Of course, we do have a check ball here. And we have our park linkage here. Just grab it, pull it down, turn the shaft, lock it in.
And voila.
And voila. Pretty simple. Now, like I said, this thing was pouring fluid out the vent. So we're going to try to find the issues kind of slowly as we pull it apart, see if we see anything. Seals getting hard, getting wore, stuff like that. Now the lockup seal, not too square cut out on the outer edge right there. Looks like it was still probably sealing. Did I say that's sealing? Yeah, there you go. Now, I always talk about these units leaking fluid out the vent anyway. It just seems like that before we started doing our little thing to these pumps, we just seen quite a few of them leaking. So, if you look here,
I can see a rut, it looks like.
This is your line pressure coming through right through here. Okay? Right through here is your vent. Goes right through here to the case on the back side. Through here. Comes out right through here on the tube on the other side. Through here. Okay? So if you get a lot of pressure in here, then it can come out the vent tube really easy. That's why we take and put a little bit of sealant right here. All the way across. Right through here. Just a little bit. Then we torque it down. We know it's going to put a good seal right through here. Can never get into there from pump pressure. Look at a couple more things really quick. Look down in here for any wear. If you get any bushing wear here, you definitely want to check down in here because your input shaft right here can rub. Look at your input or your front stator bushing there. Look at your stator, make sure it looks good. You can tell they really heat treated these really good, and you just don't see much wear like we did back in the early days. Let's see what type of boost valve we have in here. Now it is a shorty boost valve. Ooh, should have got my other. There it goes. And what I'm talking about shorty is even the pump or the stator body through here is different. They added this channel right here. You could actually, it doesn't have the holes for an input speed sensor yet, but they're right in the area of starting to change over. So the boost valve assembly is a lot shorter. This could be a 5 ringer or something like that. 1, 2, 3, 4 ringer. So this does still have a big boost valve in it. Of course, you want to look at your pressure regulator valve. Now, sometimes if we put a big boost valve in here and it's just too much, we'll take and put the factory boost valve in here, but we'll use the shift kit boost springs on a factory boost valve. And believe it or not, that helps a ton. But sometimes the bigger boost valve can be just too much. Especially after you put your Corvette your Corvette servo, your wide bands, your Z-Pack, and all that type of stuff. Of course, you have your lockup valve here. Now they've changed this valve multiple times too, so even this little puck right here has been changed. Now we always flat file this stuff here because I've come to find out some of these capsules can be sticking up. So just come in here, you can get nicks on the edge that can stand up and keep this thing from sealing all the way around. Same way with the pump body. You'll get dents. With me handling it, flipping it over, touching the table, you're going to get small dents in this thing no matter how you look at it. That's why you want to always clean it up. I mean, the converter could have been spaced quite a bit. You can see here about half the tooth is only what it was reaching. So when you get that converter all the way in there, the gear is more stable. Instead of you catching it out on the end, it just won't just stay stable. It's going to rock. It's going to do all kinds of stuff. And then the next thing you know, you have wear here on the slide. You have wear everywhere. So, of course, we have a cone style slide spring. Slide still looks decent. You're starting to see some hot spots in the middle. Starting to get some wear through here too. Piece of trash could have got in there and did all that. There we go. Got your pivot pin for your slide. Right there, got a thing set. Like I said, we replaced 90% of those too. The 90% come in with just wore plumb out. If you look at the bushing, starting to see a little bit of brass down here on the bottom. Not so much at the top, but still looks pretty decent. Come here to Scotch-Brite this up. Looks really nice still. Looks brand new. Always flat file this, especially after I get my bushing in, my seal in. Then I'll come in here and flat file this. That way, clean it up and then set it over. Then I do the finished assembling on it. So.
You need a squeegee.
Yeah, I think so too. There we go. Now we just did a service on this last week, 2 weeks ago, Teresa?
No, last week.
Last week?
Yep.
And we noticed the vent and he just didn't have time to drop it off then, so he brought it today. Anyway, we have a hard O-ring here instead of a cheap early style. Hopefully I can get this out of there.
So, nothing in the top.
Nope.
They could cause you to blow out how you can see.
Not that I could see so far. Now, converter could have been not locking up good. I mean, anything like that. So, I just know it was trying to get fluid out the hose and onto the frame and stuff. So, of course, we have a stock band. You're starting to see here where it's starting to flake off here. There too. It's kind of where the rivets, where they put the anchor onto the band. You can kind of see where it cooked the paper a little bit. Of course, we have our band anchor, pump thrust washer. You know, seals getting weak, anything like that will put fluid pressure into the cavity where it's not supposed to have any. So, reverse clutch starting to get pretty wore. You see, these always wear in the middle and work their way out because the bevel applies in the middle and then flattens on its way out. So you'll start seeing it through here. Just replace your steels. The bevel looks good, plate looks good. Always want to come in and check this and make sure it's flush all the way across, especially when you're going to be putting a wide band on here. Because you figure this wide band, look how much more it covers that drum. A ton compared to that little narrow band. And this band is second gear and fourth gear. So you definitely want to put a wide band in there and get it to cover the drum. We 80 grit this drum all the way around. Put some new bushings in there. If you have to replace this drum, always look for this hole, because they make two different size holes right here. You put a small hole here in this tranny, you can have a delay in reverse. If you put a big hole where a tranny has a small hole, you're going to have a harsh reverse. So you want to make sure you always get the right drum in here. Replace your bushings. Pretty simple. These sealing rings here, we see a lot of wear, especially these on the bottom right here. This is your 3/4 clutch circuit right here. You have your forward and you have your engine brake clutch circuit too. Right here, one right here. So if I blow air into there, I can apply those clutches and stuff in that drum. Find my little tip. We'll apply the. You can see the clearance in that clutch already. Look how much that falls down. Look at that gap. That clutch is wore plumb out. And then you can get down in here in the other holes. You just got to spin it to get to them. And then you can apply your forward clutch. Okay. And then of course your next one is going to be your small clutch down in the bottom. You'll see the top plate or the forward plate move just a little. See that? So, of course, you have your, I'm going to say input bearing here. You always want to check this bearing. If you have a whine and park in neutral, that bearing could be the culprit. And of course, you have this selective washer right here. Get that off there. And see, this is going to be a 89.
Yeah.
They have them 90s. They don't have a whole lot of selective right here. But if you notice, this thrust washer will start wearing. You notice it's from here to here. Mm-hmm. It still looks brand new.
Yeah.
So this would have been, what's crazy, this was down in there like that. So how did it wear? Kind of weird, huh? That bearing, you can tell the roller part of this bearing is more load right in here, it looks like. That's why it does that. But if this bearing gets wore and gets noisy, then it'll grab this and start spinning the whole bit, all of this, and this normally shouldn't spin. This should stay stationary and the bearing should spin. So, looks like our load springs are nice and tight. Look how it's holding that upper plate up right there. But it definitely looks like we got some 3/4 clutch wear.
Ooh, yeah, I'd say so.
Now, what's crazy is, now this tranny has not been out since this vehicle's been brand new. And this gentleman bought it, I believe, brand new. So if you get in here and look, GM has their own idea of something going on here.
Why are those blue?
That's the first time I've ever seen this in my life. Like that. Now these are high energy clutches. There's 7 in here. So the steels are going to be thinner, the clutches are going to be thinner, something's going to be up with this. But we're going to go back with something even better than this, so.
That is crazy.
Yep. That is the 7 clutch pack there. We have our engine brake clutch, and then we have our forward clutch. All the teeth look good on them still. Just a little bit of age. And say when GM went to a brass washer here, this drum is, or this hub here isn't hard enough, and this washer always eats into it. You want to check it all in the outer edges. The new one we're going to put on is actually metal, and it doesn't do this. But if you take this one off, it'll look brand new, and this one here is wore plumb out. Mm-hmm. So look at this race here, your inner. Looks good. Scotch bright it up. Change your bushings. Look at your sun gear on both sides. Looks totally different. It almost makes me wonder too. I noticed that It seems like anytime we get a 5-pinion Planet in here, the sun gear looks different, a different color. So I don't know if they've improved it or something there. Yeah, let me see. I know, I thought I seen it. Where'd it go? There it is. It turned on me. A little farther than I thought. Come on, get in there. Of course, we have a beautiful 5-pinion Planet. Looks really nice. So you want to check for any wobbling, anything like that, for any odd pattern on your gears. Now, anytime you get a new roller clutch hub like this, you got to be careful because sometimes that bearing won't fit in there. Look at that. So you got to go get the later version. They make 2 different sizes of this hole here. So if you notice, this Planet here the Planet does center the bearing. Sometimes the Planet does not. The hub centers the bearing. So I have late ones over there. So you've got your bearing here. There it is. So we always see wear through here anymore on both sides usually. This is probably one of the best ones I've seen. Hard to believe being in a performance vehicle. But
you can still see it.
Still see it, yes.
Yeah, with my eyes, I don't know if you can see it in the video.
Look at your ring gear on both sides too. Make sure there's no odd wear. Now this does, let's see if this looks hardened. It does kind of look hardened through here. Really not much spline wear or nothing, but they'll still break off here. I've seen them still come in broken there. Now we do have another hardened shell here that we're going to be put back in there. See here, it's been hardened. Even though it's got the places for the 4-tab washer, this will still interchange with a roller bearing style. So, pretty simple. See if we got a beautiful 5-pinion Planet down here in the bottom. Come on. Of course we do. A really nice 5-pinion Planet. It's crazy of how much better and design a 5-pinion is over a 4-pinion. I mean, they lightened it up a ton. I mean, it just totally made out of different looking material.
Yeah, that looks similar to that, or the blue.
Yeah, just different metal, totally different deal. So, but anyway, we're going to leave the wave in this since it's a luxury performance type vehicle. He's not going to be out just reaming the track with it and stuff. So leave our wave in there and replace the clutches and stuff. Look at your inner race here for your lower sprag. Scotch-Brite this up really nice. Put your new sprag in there. Always come in here and clean this area up here too. Either Scotch-Brite it or something to get this shiny off here, because all your new steels ain't going to look like that. So you don't want to have new steels and then put a new clutch on this shiny surface right here. You want to try to scuff it up enough to where your clutch will have something to break into. So. I don't think that's going to come out. It's not. Yeah, it looks dangerous. I'm gonna have to get it out. What do I do? I know what I can do. I got this deal over here. This should get it out. Now, since I'm gonna be beating on this, you definitely wanna probably take that tungsten bearing back there in the back and throw it away. Come on. There we go. So this old bearing here, I'd probably chunk it since we put that much of a load on it. But you can see here where they staked it in 5 times. 6 times actually, so it wouldn't slide. But you still want to come in here and look at the hub for any type of wear. Scotch-brite it up if it looks good. The ring gear, you want to look at it. I don't really see as much wear in the ring gears on the 5-pinion planets as I do on the 4. But if they do wear, they usually start from the middle and work their way up right here on the outer edge. So this still looks pretty nice still. So, well, Teresa, just another day at the office and just another 4L60E, huh?
Yeah, not a 65, a 60.
Does that look like another one over there on the jack?
Yes, it does.
Man,
But
it does.
did we determine why it was blowing?
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start taking this apart. I'm going to look at seals and stuff like that, see how much seal wear we have. It could be converter issues. I mean, there's just a lot of things that I find when I take the unit apart and start looking at stuff. Your low reverse clutch piston O-rings, they're bad about shrinking and wearing too. So there's just a lot of stuff we find after the fact we tear them down. This we kind of make it look easy, kind of just verify some of the things. But I'm telling you, when we get to tearing this down, cleaning it up, we find a ton of stuff. And that's why there's always a ton on the other side of the bench there. Because all these parts come out of different units. But, you know, we have our 904 stuff here, planets, pump stators, bands, drums, I mean, just everything. I try to keep it separated a little bit so I can kind of show the customer until I just get too big of a pile and I can't do it no more. But usually customers pick their vehicles up pretty quick. Because like I said, once we get done with this, tearing this one down like I did, this case going right straight in the washer within 4 or 5 hours, this thing will be ready to go back in the vehicle for Trent and them. So, and then we can get on to the next one. So, guys, what we'll do, this one will be built. That one will be the next video in the morning. So, Teresa, you know we always thank you for videoing. And Annie's crashed out again, guys. We put her to sleep. Soothing, right, Teresa? Soothing. But anyway, guys, don't forget to subscribe, push that notification bell, and we will see you in the morning. Have a great day.